The solution to the LA Clippers problems is right in front of their eyes, and we need the Clippers to pay attention and adjust accordingly. Now you may be asking, DLloyd, what do you mean by this? The solution to what? Well, the solution to what me and many others have been talking about over the past week, and that is James Harden being with the LA Clippers really not being a good fit in that offense, and the team going 0-4, and then after last night, dropping to 0-5 with James Harden in the lineup. That is 6 straight losses for the Clippers, and they looked okay to start the season, and things have really spiraled out of control since then. Now, I don't want to put a crazy amount of weight in the loss last night. That is a Denver Nuggets team who we all expect to be one of the better teams in the league. We know there is no Jamal Murray, but it is an in-season tournament game, so they're going to want to win that game. They did win that game, but they made a nice little comeback in that fourth quarter, even taking the lead in that fourth quarter. And if you made the observation as to how they came back in that game, it's because James Harden went to the bench. Russell Westbrook came in. While Westbrook was in the game without James Harden, they made that run. Then you've seen Russell Westbrook come out, James Harden come in. He played with Kawhi. He played with Paul George. They played with Norman Powell. They played with PJ Tucker. They took the lead, and they looked fairly well. So what is the solution? What everybody has been saying. You need to somehow start separating James Harden from Russell Westbrook, and they're going to need to go, when one another's not in the game, which means somebody's going to have to come off the bench, or you could theoretically start both of them, but they will have to be staggered significantly. So Russell Westbrook comes out of the game relatively quickly, or James Harden comes out of the game relatively quickly. Then they will run that second unit, and I believe that is the answer. But everybody's been saying that, and it's so confusing and puzzling as to why the Clippers do not feel the need to make that change. Ultimately, it's going to come down to egos, and can one of the two players' egos manage being a player that has to be a reserve, a sixth man? We have seen Russell Westbrook do it. He said he did not feel comfortable doing it. If you ask me, he somewhat pouted when the Lakers asked him to come off the bench. He credited his injuries to, I was not loose, I had no rhythm, I had no routine, I did not know what to do. James Harden, you could tell that will be a major ego hit, because he was just the number 2 option in one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. And now James Harden is potentially a 3rd or 4th option on a Clippers team that is struggling. And is that even where he's supposed to be? Because Kawhi Leonard, in my opinion, has been taking too much of a backseat, even with James Harden in there, and James Harden with that roster. So I think the Clippers still need to figure out a ton of stuff. The only player that has really played well throughout this entire time with James Harden there has been Paul George. And we know Paul George is a catch-and-shoot guy. Paul George could play in almost any offense. He's like a Kevin Durant. He could play almost any type of basketball. Iso ball, he could do it. Catch and shoot, he could do it. So Paul George is not the problem. Kawhi Leonard, I feel like, has been passing. He's been trying to play through James Harden, and you could tell that is the game plan, especially yesterday. We've seen a lot of isolation, a lot of pick and roll from James Harden, and then him trying to be a playmaker and get others involved. But ultimately, the answer is simple. Sometimes we overthink things. We overthink things, or we make things way more complicated than it needs to be. I understand. You worry about players' egos. You worry about them shutting down, and can you lose a guy? That is a very real scenario. But when you made this deal, you sat them all in a room. You talked about that there will have to be sacrifices for this thing to work. We have seen when James Harden is off the court, Russell Westbrook is leading the charge. They are positive in their plus minus. When it's the other way around, they are negative when they're all on the court. So it's going to be interesting, man. James Harden, I don't think will come off the bench, but the solution is right there. The solution to the problems are right there, but will they listen? That is my question to you. Do you guys think that's a proper solution? Do you think James Harden and Russell Westbrook need to be staggered? The minutes cannot be aligned as much as you would like. Would you like to see Russ come off the bench? Would you like to see James Harden come off the bench? Let me know you guys' thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. It's DLloyd. I'm see you next time. Peace.